So let me ask you this, because this is a really fascinating part of your trajectory, is your
Mhm.
parents were in the arts and you grew up
Yes.
playing trumpet, and then at a certain point you decided that you'd like to pursue medicine and you got a
That's a funny story because my stepfather was a doctor. My real father, who was in show business, he was in a group called the Charioteers, which was the number one singing group, black singing group in America, over and above the Ink Spots and Mills Brothers. In fact, the Charioteers did two records and had Frank Sinatra as their guest singer with them, and plus they were on the Bing Crosby show 5 days a week in the early 1940s or mid 1940s in L.A. And but he unfortunately died when I was 9 years old, and my mother remarried this doctor in San Francisco in 1954, and he was the most prominent black doctor in San Francisco, and he was the doctor to all the famous. He loved jazz, and he was to all the iconic jazz stars at that time, like Billie Holiday, Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, Coltrane. He was the doctor to all of them, and so he always advocated that I should be a doctor so I could make a good living. I really just wanted to play music. That was in my blood since my mother was in show business in the original Cotton Club, and she was a dancer. And her roommate was Billie Holiday. She was a dance partner to Bojangles, Bill Robinson. Her best friend was Lena Horne. And I used to see all these iconic people when I was growing up. I just thought they were just ordinary people walking down the street. I had no idea that the stature they held around the world. So to answer your question in terms of me changing my trajectory, it wasn't really that I wanted to change my trajectory. But my stepfather and we did not get along that much, to tell you the truth. And so he wanted me to be a doctor, and he made a statement to my mother that I was not as smart as him, that I wasn't intelligent enough to be a doctor like him. I was going to be a bum on the waterfront. So that just made me mad. I said, "Oh yeah, watch." So I went out of my way to go to school and become a doctor and study very diligently to prove him wrong.
sure.
So
That's something else.
that was my motivation to become a doctor, not because I was really had a lifelong desire to go into medicine. It was just a challenge that he made to me, and he challenged the wrong person.
It seems like it. Yeah. Was there something about psychiatry in particular that drew you to that field?
Pardon me?
Was there something about psychiatry in particular that drew you towards that
Well,
field?
that's a very interesting question, because after I finished medical school, I had the option of either I went to medical school and finished over a challenge that I couldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
So I finished. I was still playing music the whole time going through it. That's how I put myself through medical school, and I really, as more I was in medical school, the more my heart was drawn towards music, to tell you the truth,
Hmm.
even though I finished medical school. So at the end of medical school, I had a choice of opening up a practice or going to a residency, right? And so if I went into surgery, gynecology, pediatrics, pathology, all the different, specialties, that would have been, and each one of those specialties, you had to be on call every other night for 4 years. I said, oh my God. But then I saw psychiatry, the on-call schedule was on call overnight once every 45 days. I said, aha, that gives me more time to play music. So that's why I went into psychiatry.
Sure. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.